أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله تعالى على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا picking up with the legendary stories of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. We were talking and going through the stories, page number 112 in the old version. Keep bear in mind that this is the newer version displaying. We have covered Adam, Idris, Hud alayhi salatu wassalam, Nuh alayhi salatu wassalam, and Salih. We're on the Ibrahim Khalilullah family and his grandchildren. And it says here, verily among mankind who have the best claim to Ibrahim are those who followed him and this Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and those who have believed, who are Muslimin. And Allah is the wali, He is the protector, the helper of those who believe. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu confirms, saying, verily, open quote, your Lord, for those who do evil, commit sins, and are disobedience to Allah in ignorance, and afterward repent and do righteous deeds, verily your Lord thereafter to such is often most merciful. And this is Quran, Surah number 3, ayahs number 65 through 68. Verily Abraham was an ummah, a leader having all the good righteous qualities, or a nation obedient to Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. He worshipped none other than but Allah, and he was not one of those who were al-mushrikun, polytheists, idolaters, disbelievers in the oneness of Allah, and those who joined partners with Allah. He was thankful for his Allah's grace Jalla Jalaluhu. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu chose him as an intimate friend and guided him to a straight path, the path of Al-Islam. And we gave him good in this world, and in the hereafter he shall be in the righteous, among the righteous. Then it says, in the hereafter he shall be of the righteous, Then we have inspired you, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, follow the religion of Ibrahim, the Islamic monotheism, to worship none other but Allah. And he was not of the mushrikeen, polytheists, pagan, idolater, disbelief in the oneness of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, and the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, those who worship others along with Allah, or set up rivals with, or partners to Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. This is Quran, Surah number 16, ayahs number 119 through 123. Moving along now to the story of Prophet Lut alayhi salatu wassalam. Prophet Abraham left Egypt accompanied by his nephew Lut alayhi salatu wassalam, who then went to the city of Sodom, which was on the western shore of the Dead Sea. This city was filled with evil. Its residents waylaid, robbed, and killed travelers. Another common evil among them was that men had sex with the men instead of with women. This unnatural act later became known as sodomy, after the city of Sodom. It was practiced openly and unashamedly. It was at that height of these crimes and sin that Allah Jalla Jalaluhu revealed to Prophet Lut alayhi salatu wasalam that he should summon the people to give up their indecent behavior. But they were so deeply sunk in their immoral habits that they were deaf to Lot's preaching. Swamped in their unnatural desires, they refused to listen even when Lot warned them of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu's punishment. Instead, they threatened to drive him out of the city if he kept on preaching. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu revealed the Prophet, of Lut, those who dwelt in the town of Sodom in Palestine, belied the messengers when their brother Lot said to them, will you not fear Allah Jalla Jalaluhu and obey him? Verily, I am a trustworthy messenger to you. So fear Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, keep your duty to Him, and obey me. No reward do I ask of you for it. My message of Al-Islam, my reward is only from the Lord of the entire world. Mankind, jinn, and all that exists, go you in unto the males go you in unto the males of the Alameen, mankind, and leave those whom Allah Jalla Jalaluhu has created for you to be your wives. Now you are a trespassing people. They said, if you cease not, O Lut, verily you will be one of those who are driven out. He said, I am indeed of those who disapprove with severe anger and fury your evil actions of sodomy is terrible. My Lord, save me and my people from what they are doing. So we saved him and his family, all except an old woman, his wife, among those who remained behind. This is Quran, Surah number 26, ayahs numbers 160 through 171. So we saved him and his family, all except an old woman, his wife, among those who remained behind. The doings of Lot's people saddened his heart. Their unwholesome reputation spread throughout the land while he struggled against them. As the years passed, he persisted in his mission, but to no avail. No one responded to his call and believed except for the members of his family, and even in his household not all members believed. Lot's wife, alayhi salatu wassalam, like Noah's wife, were disbelievers. Allah the Almighty declared, Allah set forth an example for those who disbelieved, the wife of Noah and the wife of Lut. They were under two of our religious slaves, but they both betrayed their husbands by rejecting their doctrine. So they, Noah and Lut, benefited them, their prospective wives, they did not benefit them against Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. And it was said, into the fire along with those who enter it. Surah number 66, ayah number 10. If home is the place of comfort and rest, then Lot found none, for he was tormented both inside and outside his home. His life was continuous torture, and he suffered greatly, but he remained patient and steadfast with his people. The years rolled by, and still not one believed in him. Instead, they belittled his message and mockingly challenged him, saying, bring Allah's torment upon us if you are one of the truthful. End quote. Overwhelmed with despair, Lot prayed to Allah Jalla Jalaluhu to grant him victory and destroy the corrupt ones. Therefore the angels left Abraham and headed for Sodom to the town of Lot. They reached the walls of the town in the afternoon. The first person who caught sight of them was Lot's daughter, who was sitting beside the river filling her jug with water. When she lifted her face and saw them, she was stunned that there could be men of such magnificent beauty on earth. One of the three men who were angels asked her, O maiden, is there a place to rest? Remember the character of her people, she replied. Stay here and do not enter until I inform my father and return. Leaving her jug by the river, she swiftly ran home. O father, she cried, you are wanted by young men at the town gate, and I have never before seen the like of their faces. Prophet Lut ﷺ felt distress as he quickly ran to his guests. He asked them where they came from and where they were going. They did not answer his questions. Instead, they asked if he could host them. He started talking with them and impressed upon them the subject of his people's nature. Lot was filled with turmoil. He wanted to convince his guests without offending them not to spend the night there. Yet at the same time, he wanted to extend to them the expected hospitality normally accorded to guests. In vain, he tried to make them understand the perilous situation. At last, therefore, he requested them to wait until the night fell for them, so that then no one will see them. When darkness fell on the town, Lot escorted his guests to his home. No one was aware of their presence. However, as soon as Lot's wife saw them, she slipped out of the house quickly so that no one noticed her. Quickly she ran to her people with the news, and it spread to all the inhabitants like wildfire. The people rushed towards Lut والسلام, quickly and excitedly. Lot was surprised by the discovery of his guests, and he wondered who could have informed them. The matter became clear, however, when he could not find his wife anywhere, thus adding grief to his sorrow. When Lut والسلام, saw the mob approaching his house, he shut the door, but they kept on banging on it. He pleaded with them to leave the visitors alone and fear Allah Jalla Jalaluhu's punishment. He urged them to seek sexual fulfillment with their wives, for that was what Allah Jalla Jalaluhu had made lawful. Lot's people waited until he had finished his short sermon, and then they roared with laughter. Blinded by passion, they broke down the door. Lot became angry, very angry, but he stood powerless before these violent people. He was unable to prevent the abuse of his guests, but he firmly stood his ground and continued to plead with the mob. At that terrible moment, he wished he had the power to push them away from his guests. Seeing him in that state of helplessness and grief, the guest said, "Do not be anxious or frightened, Luther, for we are angels, and these people will not harm you." On hearing this, the mob was terrified and fled from Lot's house. Hurling threats at him as they left, the angels warned Prophet Lut to leave his house before sunrise, taking with him all his family except his wife. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu had decreed that the city of Sodom should perish. An earthquake rocked the town. It was as if a mighty power had lifted the entire city and flung it down in one jolt. A storm of stones rained on the city everywhere, and everything was destroyed, including Lot's wife. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu recounted the story, saying, in open quote, "And tell them about the guest angels of Ibrahim. When they entered unto him and said, Salam, peace, Abraham said, Indeed, we are afraid of you. They, the angels, said, Do not be afraid. We give you glad tidings of a boy possessing much knowledge and wisdom. Abraham said, Do you give me glad tidings of a son when old age has overtaken me? Of what then is your news? Then the angels said, We give you glad tidings in truth. So be not of despairing ones. Do not be one who is despaired. And Abraham said, And who despairs of the mercy of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu except those who are astray? Abraham again said, What then is the business on which you have come, O messengers? They, the angels, said, We have been sent to a people who are mujrimeen, they are criminals, disbelievers, polytheists, sinners, all except the family of Lut. Them all we are surely going to save from destruction the family of Lot, except his wife, of whom we have decreed that she shall be of those who remain behind and destroyed. Then when the messenger, the angels came unto the family of Lut, he said, this is Surah number 15, ayahs number 51 through 57. 51 through 77. Then when the messengers, the angels, came unto the family of Lut, he said, Verily, you are people unknown to me. They said, Nay, we have come to you with that torment which they have been doubting, and we have brought to you the truth, the news of the destruction of your nation, and certainly we tell the truth. Then travel in a part of the night with your family, and you go behind them in the rear, and let no one amongst you look back, but go on to where you are ordered. And we made known this decree to him, that the root of those sinners was to be cut off in the early morning, and the inhabitants of the city came rejoicing at the news of the young men's arrival. Lut ﷺ said, Verily, these are my guests, so shame me not, and fear Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, and disgrace me not. They, the people of the city, said, Did we not forbid you to entertain or protect anything of the people, foreigners, strangers? We told you not to have any guests from us, Lot, and not to keep them from us. Lot said, the girls of the nation, meaning girls of nations are my daughters, to marry lawfully. You can marry them lawfully. He is a prophet and he is speaking from the position of leadership. If you must act verily by your life, O Muhammad, in their wild intoxication, they were wandering blindly. So a sayha, torment, awful cry, and so on overtook them at the time of sunrise, and we turned the town of Sodom in Palestine upside down and rained down on them stones of baked clay. Surely in this are signs for those who see or understand or learn the lessons from the signs of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. And verily, they, the cities, are right on the high road from Mecca to Syria, the place where the Dead Sea is now. Surely therein is indeed a sign for the believers. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu also declared, so we saved him and his family, all except an old woman, his wife, among those who remained behind. Then afterward we destroyed the others, and we rained on them a rain of torment. And how evil was the rain of those who had been warned. Verily in this is indeed a sign, yet most of them are not believers. And verily your Lord, he is indeed the Almighty, the most merciful. The book was closed on the people of Lot. Their towns and names have been erased from the face of the earth. Gone are they from memory. Well, we actually got the new flag with all the colors. One book was closed of the books of corruption. The Prophet Lot والسلام, proceeded towards Abraham والسلام. He visited him, and when he recounted the story of his people, he was surprised to learn that Abraham had already knew. And so Lot continued to invite people to Islam. As did Abraham, the patient one who turned to Allah repentantly, and the two held firm to their mission. Inshallah, we will stop here on page number 122. Our next story will be chapter 8, the story of Prophet Shu'aib. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وتبارك اسم ربك وتعالى جدك ولا إله غيرك ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.